In today's lesson, we're going to cover mixing in Soundtrap. First, we're going to look at volume levels. I'm going to use this looper to loop the section in my song that has the most information. So let's do the chorus, since it has 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks. And first, we're going to look at volume levels. I'm going to start with my drums. And then bring in my bass. Then the piano. And then my percussion. Okay, I like where those levels are. The next thing I could experiment with is the panning. Panning is moving things left or right. So in your left ear or your right ear, you can see the panning knobs right here. For each track, they're at 0 right now, which means everything is right down the center, and you can hear it in the left and right ear. But let's experiment with putting the piano in the left ear. Or the right ear. So what's something clever we could do with panning? Well, we could keep the piano in the right ear, 70%, and then watch this. I'm going to duplicate this track, duplicate my piano, and now I'm going to change the instrument. Let's change the grandma's piano to something else. What about, let's see, we click here, we can look at all the instruments. What about a Rhodes piano? Let's try that. And we'll put the Rhodes in the left ear, like that. What is this going to sound like? Do you hear the Rhodes in the left ear? Let's solo it. It sounds like this. With the piano. Let's try a different instrument. It's kind of interesting. Ooh, I kind of like that. So we have Pink Carol in our left ear, Grandma's piano in our right ear. And it sounds like this. Now with the whole mix, we could play with the levels. I like the way that sounds. So we kept the panning down the center for our bass and for our drums, which is good. We can hear the drums in both ears. We can hear the bass in both ears. Usually for low information like bass, you want to keep it right down the center. And for other things like percussion, you might move these off to the side. So let's play around with this a little bit. And when you pan things to the left or right, it's going to sound louder than it did initially. So maybe we can turn the volume down a little bit and keep this in the right ear. So that's what it sounds like in the right ear. Here's what it sounds like center. And here's what it sounds like in the left ear. I think I want to put it in the right ear. Your mix might be different. You might choose to put it in the left or down the center. So now I've played with the levels, the volume levels. I've played with the panning. And the next thing I want to play with is effects. So in any track, for example, the drums, we can click on any of the track's icons. And down here at the bottom, we'll see the effects in the effects library. So if I go over here and click on an effect, for example, Bit Crusher, I can hit the play button and it will make the sound of what that effect does. So that effect sounds like an old video game, like an 8-bit video game. So what happens if we put that on our drums? So here's what our drums sound like without it. We'll power it off. Let's solo the drums. They sound like this. And with the Bit Crusher, it sounds like this. I don't really like that. Here's what it sounds like with the whole song. But it's an interesting effect if that's something that you like. But let's say we don't like it. Let's exit out and it's gone. Now we can look at some other plugins like, what about distortion on our drums? So without it, sounds like this. And with, sounds like this. Interesting, it's got like a more lo-fi sound. We can play with the tone. This mix knob, this will let you mix the effect in 100%. Or you can have some of the original drums without the effect. So let's say when you have it at 20%, that means that 80% of it is the original drums, 20% is the effect. So original drums, juicy distortion drums, half and half. Let's go halfway. And we'll leave that alone. Let's add another effect. A really common effect that you might use is called reverb. And you can see there's a reverb knob right here that you can always use, but let's add the effect from here just so you can get used to adding it in the effects chain, because we can put it before or after the distortion. We're going to put it after. So we have our drums, they get distorted, and then we add this reverb to them. And reverb sounds like this. See, that's all reverb, 100%. This is no reverb. This is 50%. But let's hear what it sounds like with all of the instruments. So we'll start with 0 and we'll dial it up. If we don't want the reverb to affect the low end, we can cut it out. There we go. If we want to add some reverb to our drums, we could do that. So here's what the drums sound like without reverb. It's more in your face. And with the reverb, it's going to sound a little bit farther away. I'm going for the farther away effect in this case, so I'm going to leave that alone. Now, we can add the effect to other things too, like Grandma's piano sounds like this. But if we go over here and we add effects, we could add an effect. What if we added a delay? Delay sounds like this. It's going to be like echo, echo, echo. Hear that? So if we add that delay in there, hear it? So just adding a little bit of an effect there. And what about our bass? We're going to add anything to that. There's already a lot of effects going on with this bass, so I don't think I'm going to touch it. One of the effects that we need to talk about though is EQ. And the best way to show you what EQ does is we can use the drums. So let's add, this is a 2-band EQ right here that's controlling the amount of bass and treble in the signal. But I want to show you a different EQ. EQ. Called the visual EQ. So the visual EQ, if we open it up, we're going to hit play and open it up. And you can see the frequencies. You can see the frequencies of the drums. The low frequencies are over here, and the high frequencies are over here, and the middle frequencies are right here. So watch what happens when I go like this. I'm going to take out all the low part of the drums, and now the drums sound like this. See that? So we took out all the high frequencies there. We can also boost frequencies. So if we want to boost a little bit of the kick thump, we want to add a little bit of shine. And we're going to take some frequencies out, take out this boxy 500 sound. We'll take that out. There we go. So that's how you can use EQ to make your drums sound a little bit tighter. What we did is we removed a little bit of the really low end. Human ears can't hear anything below 60 hertz like this, so we're just trimming that down. We're giving the 100 hertz boost at the kick to give it a little more thump. Anywhere between 100 and 200 will give you that. And we're cutting at 500 because you get that boxy wah 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 sound. We can take that out. And right around 10,000 we're boosting to give us a little bit of shine in those claps and those cymbals. And that's it. That's how you mix the parts of your song. Now, we haven't listened to this part of the song yet, so I'm going to need to adjust those levels for this bass sound because it might be a lot louder. So let's compare it between this part and this part. Let's see. That sounds good. It's just different. The levels are about the same, but the tone is different, which is fine. And that's it. That's how you use volume, panning, and effects in Soundtrap to mix your song.